Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you for using my creator code whenever you purchase any Sims 4 DLC on the EA app or thesims.com. I receive a 5% commission each time you use my code, which means you're directly supporting me as a creator. I know there are a lot of codes floating around out there, so I am very grateful that you've chosen me to support in this way. Thank you so much. Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And today we are actually renovating the Vista Quarry lot in Oasis Springs using only base game yet again. I have been doing a ton of base game renovations / builds lately, so hopefully you are not sick of them, but I am having so much fun just using base game. And this is my very first renovation in the world of Oasis Springs because all of the work that I've been doing thus far has been in Willow Creek. And now I prefer, of the base game world, I think Willow Creek is probably where I would spend most of my time. I just love that world so much. But I also really like Oasis Springs and I don't spend enough time here. So I was excited to jump in and actually try to renovate one of these builds as well, because I don't think I've ever touched this original build. I've bulldozed it. That's the extent of me touching it. I have bulldozed it, but it's not a bad shape. It's a very simple shape. It's a mid-century style home, and I thought this would be a nice newer challenge since I've just been doing everything in Willow Creek lately. So also, if you are watching this video, please know it is pre-recorded. I'm putting this disclaimer in every single video that is going up while I am on maternity leave. Yes, it means that I have had my baby if you are seeing this, and that I have decided to take some time off to get to know them and adjust to parenthood because I have no idea what to expect. This is my first go around, so I am very excited, very scared, all of the collective emotions, and I wanted to make sure that you all had content to watch while I was away. I have no idea how long I'm going to be away. I have tons, and I mean, I can't even express to you tons of pre-recorded videos, to the point that you actually might see some new videos scattered in between some of these pre-recorded videos because I am months and months and months out. I could be 6 months out. I'm not even kidding. At the time of me recording this, obviously I have not had my baby yet, but from here to how far I'm recorded out, it's probably 6 or 7 months, that was not my intention. I do not intend on being away for quite literally half a year or anything like that, but I just ended up making a lot of videos. So hopefully you enjoy all of them and can bear with me as I try to figure out how to schedule all the stuff. But as you can see, the exterior is pretty much together at this point. I kind of went with a sandy color scheme on the exterior, and like a lot of these base game renovations, I tried to maintain the floor plan to the best of my ability with very, very minor changes, I would say. I think just with I think it was the size of the kitchen and then the access to the bathroom, I had to make some adjustments because it was just a bit odd to me. But I maintained the number of bedrooms, which is 2 bedrooms, and then there's also an office space. And then of course, as I've been typically doing as well, adding archways and whatnot to separate some of the bigger spaces, just to make it a little less intimidating. Now, on the plus side, this did not use the medium wall height, this original build, which was beautiful. I was thrilled about that because most of the builds in Willow Creek actually are medium wall height, and I adjusted almost every single one. There might have been a couple that I preserved as medium wall height, but the rest I made short because I can't work with the medium wall height more often than not. I think sometimes you have to if you want to use certain windows and things like that, but for this one I was thrilled. It was the short wall height, and I used a lot of it's not even really new anymore, but I guess it's the newest addition to build by when it comes to the base game. We have the birthday celebration doors and windows that I ended up using for this build. And I went with kind of an orange and gray color scheme, which was not what I was planning. I suppose I didn't really have a plan either, I should say that. But it's also a little bit more modern / contemporary as well. So yeah, it's just a little bit different. It's a different style for Oasis Springs, and I wanted to really explore that because I think if I were to pick my favorite style of base game item, it's more of the traditional, and I put that in little air quotes because I don't really know how else to explain it. It's not like the Queen Anne furniture and whatnot that is very, very fancy. I like the more traditional pieces in base game. And the modern ones really throw me off because I'm just not a huge fan of like modern interior decorating. I can kind of get behind some contemporary elements, but for the most part, I would say modern is just not my thing. So I knew that this build was going to be a challenge for me because I had to get comfortable with some of those modern pieces because I just felt as though it fit the build the best. And I think the room that I struggled with the most was actually the kitchen, which we're trying to work on now. I was going to try to keep this orange and gray color scheme going in the kitchen, but these orange cabinets and countertops, they worked. Don't get me wrong. It did work if I really, really wanted to keep it going, but it was just a bit overwhelming to me. It kind of hurt my eyeballs. I don't know. So I toyed around with the colors a lot. I did it on and off cam because I just couldn't really decide what route I wanted to go. I think I end up, I can't even recall. It might just be like a gray or like a bluey gray countertop with cabinets that I end up choosing. And I think I go with a darker tile as well. And I keep the gray chairs at least. I toned it down a little tiny bit, but it was a decent sized kitchen after I made the adjustments that I did to the original floor plan, which was great. And I was able to have the full dining table in here instead of just, I think it was just like a 2-seater that it had before, since the kitchen was smaller and completely open to the living space prior to this. But all in all, I kind of liked the change that I ended up adding. I like separating spaces in a lot of these base game homes. I've mentioned it a million times already, but they're always so open. Now, the one thing that I actually wish I had explored further is there was this bit of wall when you first walked into this home in the original one. There was just like a wall in the middle with a piece of artwork, and on the other side was where the TV was mounted, and I kind of liked that. So as I'm looking at Oasis Springs and possibly renovating some of the other homes, if that element is part of it, I want to preserve it, I think, next time. And if it's not part of it, I might want to add it to a build because I actually really liked that. It's something that I wouldn't have thought to do on my own. So I kind of wish that I'd kept it here instead of going with my pretty standard living room setup, though it's not bad. I really like the living room. It's probably my favorite space, but yeah, I also added this little hallway so you could access the bathroom and the primary bedroom. And the primary bedroom ends up being very brown and green. I don't know why. I was also trying to use different wallpapers and whatnot for this build because so many of the ones that I have been using were extremely fitting for the style in Willow Creek compared to Oasis Springs. So I was trying to change things up a little bit here. I didn't really add too much to the primary bedroom either. I think there's like a mirror, a dresser, there's the bed, and that's kind of it. I might swap out the curtains later. I change out the curtains to more of like these, I'll say like more affordable like blinds. You'll see them in the screenshots or later on as I'm kind of working on other rooms, but I changed it up a little bit because I think the green was almost a bit too overwhelming. I wanted to make it even warmer with more brown. And now we're working on the one and only bathroom, which has a shower and a tub separately. I haven't done that, I don't think, in one of the base game renovations yet. I may have added a bathtub, but I didn't add like the tub and the shower. So that was kind of nice. It was just something a little bit different. I also used these subway tiles from base game, of course, and the hexagon tiles, but I think I changed those as well to some darker brown ones. Again, just trying to keep things a little bit warmer instead of, I don't know, to me this comes off like super sterile because it's almost white. And I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I might just have to get comfortable with it too, and I might do it in another renovation or another build, but yeah, for this I just really didn't, it was just very, very sterile and I didn't really like it, so I changed it to brown just to kind of get things warmed up a little bit. And I add some clutter to the countertops here. There's just the single sink, and then we move on to the office and the other bedroom. So the second bedroom is actually a nursery, because I had to be mindful of the fact that when base game came out, we didn't have toddlers or infants. So as I'm approaching some more of these renovations, I wanted to think of different life stages that we didn't previously have, just to kind of diversify the builds a little bit. So this is a teeny tiny little nursery for an infant. The door looks like it's floating because I did use a platform on the outside for the porches, which meant that I added the platform for the living room. And then you basically kind of like step down into the kitchen, into the hallway, and into these other rooms as well. And when it's only, how do I explain this? When the platform is only like upped by one, when you only press the arrow once, your Sims can just step down as if it's a set of stairs. If it was anything more than that, I would have had to add like a staircase, technically speaking, but shouldn't be a problem. I did play test it and everything worked great. But yeah, I did kind of struggle with this nursery as well, just because it was so tiny. I was trying to figure out what decorations I could actually add and what things would also be functional, considering that it's just base game. You know, I always forget that we don't have changing tables along with cribs in base game, which I think I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That's a gripe that I have. The fact that changing tables are locked behind the Growing Together DLC is a bit ridiculous to me. And I confirmed that obviously when I was trying to make that nursery. I was like, where are the changing tables? I have a feeling they're not here, but let me confirm. And they absolutely were not, which was super frustrating, especially because I just hiccuped in the middle of that. Don't judge me. But especially because one of the changing tables we did get matches the base game cribs perfectly. That's just mean. Like that's just not fair. Like I didn't understand it. But this is the little office space. Again, I preserved it from the original build. We have some bookcases, the computer, we have a Lindsay Smart speaker, and the little future cube. Just trying to add some different activities. And then I do go back outside because I just really didn't landscape or decorate the outside that much, at least in the front. Like I added these kind of built-in garden beds, but that's kind of it. So I was trying to add some more hedges here, add another kind of outdoor fence, if you will. And then I also add a plant onto the porch with a couple of chairs and a little table with like, I think a candle or maybe even another plant, can't remember. But it's not super, super decorated. I just wanted a little bit more to it. I considered adding flower boxes, but just didn't really fit for this build in my opinion. So I didn't carry that through, but I did add these built-in flower or like gardening box things to the back. And here you can see I had made those changes off camera to the color scheme, and I liked it a lot more. It just seemed a lot more warm and welcoming. But in the backyard, I kind of preserved what we had to an extent. It was a little bit oddly laid out, but what I end up doing is I add a swimming pool, and then on the back little patio here, we have a grill, outside dining table, and then I just add a couple more palm trees. Again, it's somewhat reminiscent of what was here, but not exactly, because of course we didn't have pools when base game actually came out. For those of you who didn't know that, we didn't have pools, we didn't have ghosts, we didn't have infants, we didn't have toddlers. There was a lot missing when base game came out. It wasn't great, especially when you go from like The Sims 3 to The Sims 4, which is exactly what I did. And I was like, are you kidding? You got rid of toddlers? Like that was the deal breaker for me, actually. I love toddlers in The Sims games, but anyway, that's pretty much it for this build. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I still recall the first time I saw you. I was so nervous to talk. Happened so fast. Went from so lonely to falling asleep in your arms. I used to be afraid to fall in love. My past relationship was a disaster, but now I don't care. 'Cause you took my scars, bruises and broken heart, numbed all the pain, showed me how to heal, and now I don't feel broken anymore. Still got your smell wrapped in my bed sheets. Don't wanna wash it away. I know sometimes I get too caught up in all of the wrong things, but you're always there to guide me. I used to be afraid to fall in love. A past relationship ship was a disaster, but now I don't care. 'Cause you took